Hello everybody, it is the Last Raider, and we are back with another video. And today, oh boy, another sci-fi is going down. I mean, Stargate needs to watch out because SG-1 is next. Pretty much from bounding in the comics, Michael J. Straczynski confirms Babylon 5 reboot in development for the CW. Now, there are several things wrong with this in this day and age. One, you are rebooting something that's already been established. Anytime television, Hollywood, or any of these big companies say, hey, we're rebooting something, that's usually code for we're going to wokeify it. The other problem is the CW. The CW that has brought us wonderful shows such as, well, Batwoman, which was just a lesbian farce, and Supergirl, which was just, oh, hey, feminism all day long, and oh, yeah, white male privilege and all this nonsense. Has given us Flash, which has gone from somewhat good to now pretty much disastrous in the way it's going. I mean, everyone has freaking superpowers. Every single person that was a ginger has been reduced to, well, we race swapped them to black. We've given hand-me-down token characters to it. But this is one of those things that just absolutely irritates me when I see this, because I know what's going to happen. Because Straczynski and them, they kind of tell us what they're going to do. Michael Straczynski has confirmed that a reboot of his beloved sci-fi series Babylon 5 is currently in the works at the CW. News of Babylon 5's reboots of the Babylon 5 reboot existence was first reported on by Variety, who reported in the morning of September 27th that they had learned that the from the ground up reboot of the series was in the works from Straczynski and Warner Brothers Television, the studio that produced the original series. Though details on the reboot were scarce, the trade outlet could confirm that at this time, none of the original series stars are attached to the project. Oh, that's going to cause problems right there. Because you're doing a reboot. And I'm going to tell people how you would do this, but I'm going to get through here, and you're going to see what Hollywood does to creativity. Okay, because Straczynski is the one that made Babylon 5. He's the guy that wrote it, came up with it. But after being over in California, I don't know if Alex Jones is correct. They put something in the water. But you will quickly realize that Hollywood just sucks the creativity out of people. I don't know what it is, but I've seen hundreds of people. They will go to, they go from Missouri, they go over, they're like, oh, we're going to live in California for a bit. They go over there, they come back, they're like zombies half the time. It's weird. Well, let's keep going here. Unsurprisingly, this news caused a massive buzz across social media, with some fans excited for more Babylon 5 and others afraid the new series would suffer from the same problems that plague such similar reboots or continuing series as Star Trek Discovery or Star Wars. So much so, in fact, that that said buzz eventually prompted Straczynski himself to take to Twitter to confirm, to answer all the questions. Yes, it's true. Babylon 5 is in active development as a series for the CW. We have some serious fans over at the network, and they're eager to see this show happen, he added. I'm hip deep into writing the plot now. We'll be running the series upon pickup. Okay, here's the thing. We've heard this kind of stuff before. We heard it with He-Man. We hear it with Star Wars. We hear it with everything. Oh, we've got people here that are massive fans of the show. Then you find out later none of them are really fans. You find out that a lot of them were signed on because they had the right politics. Warner Brothers has run how many franchises into the ground? There are so many franchises that have been destroyed just by Hollywood ilk alone. I mean, they're currently trying to gay up Venom for some damn reason. We don't know why. There's no reason for it. It has no relevance to the story, but they're going to gay up Venom. I'll do a video on that eventually. But continuing on, Stratnowski then explained the network understands the uniqueness of Babylon 5 and is giving me a great deal of latitude with the storytelling. As noted in the announcement, this is a reboot from the ground up rather than a continuation for several reasons. And I know some guys that are... Hey, they did this with Star Trek when they did Discovery. They completely rebooted everything and it gave us the absolute worst Klingon ship designs I have ever seen. It looks like something... It's like they took all the bio... They do this weird thing with biomechanical crap, or they try to make alien ships look biomechanical. And it didn't work because the Klingon battleships beforehand had pipes, they had armor plating attached to them, and there was a point to the design. There was a method to the madness. They were a military empire, and instead we got this weird Burrell that doesn't even come down to the original concept of the Burrell. The original Burrell was meant to be a very cheap raider. And they ended up taking a ship, and this is something that I've bitched about a few times to some of my friends. So some of the guys I play games with are going to see this, and they're going to be like, yep. Raider has bitched about this plenty of times. The problem I have with the Burrell back then was the Burrell was a very tiny, what is the term? Profile. So in other words, hitting a Burrell, the Burrell was designed specifically to have strong forward shields, strong forward armor, and was designed to come in at a full frontal assault. Because in a Burrell, that is the safest you were going to be. Discovery comes in and makes the broadest area of the Burrell the very front of it. They curved the entire spine of the ship so it looks like a vulture for some reason. That's not a bird of prey. They curved it so it looked like a vulture. So it looks like a vulture fixing to land, all broad and easy to hit. It made no absolute damn sense. And we're doing this again with Babylon 5. The ships are going to suck. They're going to try, and you're going to see they're wanting to go a different direction with it, and you don't really have to. Anyway, let's keep going. Heraclitus wrote, "You cannot step in the same river twice, for the river has changed. And you have changed." The creator continued. "In the years since B5, I've done a ton of other TV shows and movies, adding an equal number of tools to my toolbox, all of which I can bring to bear in one singular question. If I were creating Babylon 5 for the first time, knowing what I know as a writer, what would it look like? It's probably going to look pretty damn woke, really. How would it use all the storytelling tools and technological resources available in 2021 that were not on hand then?" he posted. "How can it be used to reflect the world which we live in and the questions we are asked and confronting every day? Fans regularly point out how persistent the show was and it is of our current world. It would be fun to take a shot at looking further down the road." Here's an idea. Just a great idea. Why don't you do what TNG did? Because they had more advanced technology, better storytelling tools. Gene Roddenberry was better at writing at that time. And they managed to push probably one of the most successful sci-fi franchises in history. Most people don't even remember old Trek that much because they grew up on all of the TNG episodes in Deep Space Nine and Voyager. They don't remember. Very few people say, like, "Oh yeah, Spock, yeah." Back in the 90s, it was TNG. And what they did was they just did a Next Generation and just went on from there. And it was a hit. This idea here, you can't go like see the aftermath of everything that's happened. You can't have Sheridan as an admiral or something. Push it and a new commander at Babylon 5, just running Babylon 5 and some new shit come up. No, because Hollywood has drained your creativity out of you. Continuing on. Turning the concept of the new series as a reboot, Straczynski stated, I guess, so we will not be retelling the same story in the same way because of what Heraclitus said about the river. There would be no fun and no surprises. Let me throw your analogy to you with some country boy logic. You're trying to swim upriver. You're unwilling to get into the river. You're going back to where you started so you can see how the river has changed instead of going on down the river and seeing what's new. And you're going to try and redefine what you're seeing as you go down the river. It's rather stupid. Better to go the way of Westworld or Battlestar Galactica, where you take the original elements that are evergreens and put them in a blender with a ton of new, challenging ideas to create something fresh yet familiar. Well, here's the thing. Battlestar Galactica had the benefit of saying, this stuff has happened multiple times. It did not sit back and just erase the past. As far as Battlestar Galactica is concerned, the events that happened in the old 60s and 70s movies, and possibly 80s, I can't remember when that was actually out, but everything that was originally there in the old show has theoretically happened. Get Romanian TV. I got all these YouTube updates coming up through here. Sorry about that, guys. But the thing about Battlestar Galactica was it did not try to shy away from its past. It kept a lot of elements from the past. And it made the assumption within the show that this was just events repeating themselves in a different form. It didn't shy away from it, like with what they're talking about doing here. Westworld went good for a first season, and then it went super political and went down and just completely fell apart. And honestly, I don't think that's what you want to miss. I don't think this is what you want to try and emulate there. If you're going to do Battlestar Galactica, you're going to have to do that. That's I don't think it's going to be doable again because it's already been done. Honestly, I think a next generation Babylon 5 would be the best way to go. You can contact the old actors and actresses, call them back, say, hey, you're not going to have to do like really crazy stuff. We're going to need Admiral Sheridan back in, but we're going to have a new character we're going to follow. Write the character good and just continue on. You don't have to pick up where you left off. TNG picked up 200 years in the future? You don't even have to start at the one place. Just come back to where it was. And then you can hint at former elements as you go through the series and make it good. Addressing those, why not just do a continuation? Straczynski clarified, for a network series like this, it can't be done because over half our cast are still stubbornly on the other side of the rim. Not even sure what that means. How do you continue telling a story if our original Londo without the original Veer? He asked. Or Genkar, how do you tell Sheridan's story without Deline? Or the story of B5 without Franklin Garibaldi, Zach? Let me ask this question. Again, back to Star Trek. How are we supposed to continue Star Trek without Captain Kirk or Spock? How did they do that? It's very simple. We went to another generation. We sat back and said, and there were plenty of episodes. I mean, Kirk himself got his own damn movie with Captain Picard. Hank McCoy had a cameo in the very first, I think one of the very first episodes. Scotty came back. Spock, he's a Vulcan. He lives for a very long time. He ends up helping a revolution on the Romulan home planet of more logic and reason. They did really good odes to the original characters. They brought them back for specific episodes. You could contact the actor who did Sheridan and whatnot if they're still alive. And you can have them come back in. But I mean, here's the funny part. This guy talks about, and this is what Hollywood does. It gets you to the point where, I don't know what it is. It just gets you to the point where you don't think you can do the original concept anymore. You lose creativity. Here I am, a country bumpkin from Southeast Missouri, and I'm coming up with more creative ways of rebooting the series than you are. The guy that wrote it. I mean, you cannot use, you sit back just a minute ago and say, with all the technologies we got right now, dude, they put young Carrie Fisher on the face of some random chick. They had Tarkin, they had a guy looking like Tarkin in the freaking Rogue One movie. They brought back Luke freaking Skywalker, not the old Mark Hamill that we got now, who has aged very well for a guy that has done a year's worth of acting. But they brought him back and made him look like young Luke Skywalker, like he was in his 20s again. And you can do this if you really want to. But here's the thing. You can do small stuff and go back to those characters. Have them come in, have a moment where, they're really fighting off this group of people and a couple of Minbari from the other show up. I mean, frick. I don't understand these people when they go to Hollywood. The original Babylon 5 was ridiculously innovative. The first use of CGI to create ships and characters, and among the very first to shoot widescreen with a vigorous 5.1 mix, recalled the writer. Most of all, for the first time, Babylon 5 introduced viewers accustomed to episodic television to the concept of a 5-year arc with a pre-planned beginning, middle, and end, creating a brand new paradigm for television storytelling that has subsequently become the norm. Yes, and here's the kicker. Babylon 5 was ridiculously innovative. It's not anymore, apparently. You're going to Twitter is already causing problems here, man. At this point, someone at Warner should have gone in there and said, dude, you've got to shut up. Okay, this isn't helping things out. That tradition for innovation will continue with the new iteration, he asserted, and I hope to create additional new forms of storytelling that will further push the television medium to the edge of what's possible. The fact that you're on the CW, dude, somebody's going to sit there and tell you that you got to woke it up. And that's the problem here. That and the fact that you seem to be doing everything in your power to not innovate this thing. You could start this out and tell us, because everyone has sat back. This is what people have said. They have wanted Babylon 5 to come back in its original form, but with all the modern storytelling elements that you can put in there, all the latest CGI, all the latest camera stuff. That's what fans want. You go on Space Doc, you go on any channel on YouTube that talks about this stuff, and they all say the same thing. The show was ahead of its time, and we wish we could see it come back with modern CGI, modern special effects, and the same storytelling. They've even said they want a TNG style. They'll accept a TNG style reboot, or not a reboot, a TNG style continuation. But as usual, we're not worried about that, because we're going to go back. We're going to get Sheridan back in. Sheridan's going to be a woman, probably a black woman. The Minbari are going to be an entire group of lesbians. God knows what else is happening. And the darkness is going to be run by a guy with orange skin and blonde hair. He talks like a New Yorker the whole time. We know how this works. We've seen this plenty of times. Concluding his thread, Stratnowski took a moment to note how supportive and enthusiastic everyone at the CW has been and is being with this project. Yeah, they were enthusiastic with Batwoman. They were enthusiastic when they ran The Flash into the ground. They were enthusiastic when they took the Supergirl series and it just kind of stagnated and dropped. I mean, they're more than enthusiastic about ruining stuff because they don't care. They're going to get a quick buck and that's it. It's something tells me it's going to be a big mistake. They understand the unique position Babylon 5 occupies both in television and with its legions of fans. This sounds like Kathleen Kennedy right here. And are doing everything they can to ensure the maximum in creative freedom and a new story that will bring in viewers while honoring all that has come before, he said, before declaring onward. What do you hope to see from the reboot? Lost my place here. What I would love to see is a continuation of the show. Hey, it's been years since I've watched it, and I'd love to see the show continued. Reality, I don't think we're going to see it continued at all. We're not going to get what we wanted. Fans are already telling, and they do this with Star Wars. When everyone said, you know what we want from Star Wars? We want to see the legend stuff brought to movies. It was so damn simple. You had fans of Legends, and then Kathleen Kennedy comes in and she says, you know, we're going to go for new fans. We're going to try this new stuff. You're going to come in here with Hollywood politics, which are so far away from what average people want to do. California might as well be its own separate planet with its own separate biology. Okay? It doesn't mesh well with the rest of the world. You're seeing this now with all kinds of crap that's happening across the globe. I mean, China has sat back. Communist China is looking at this saying, yeah, you know, we don't like this woke politics crap. And they're denying woke movies and all this nonsense from coming into their country. They're not insulating themselves. We're seeing independent media just beat the crap out of media that normally was unopposed. What will happen is this will come in. We're going to get black lesbian Sheridan. We're going to get lesbian Minbari. We're going to get all sorts of weird stuff. The guys are going to be stupid. And the ships are going to look like shit. And it's going to be another fandom, just like Star Wars, just like Star Trek, that is going to get split down the middle by a group of morons who come in claiming they're all big fans. But this is the thing. I don't care how much of a fan you say you are. If you can't tell me what specific ships are, if you can't tell me specific stuff about the races in the sci-fi, if you can't tell me what the other stuff, I mean, here's the thing. You probably got someone who said they were a major fan, and then they gave you the Vulcan hand sign of how much of a fan of Babylon 5 they are. And yes, this is something a writer actually did with Star Wars one time at Disney. They asked her how much of a fan she was. She gave the Vulcan hand sign, and we all just, I mean, there was a moment when that happened, I felt the entire universe just cringe. And then we're just suddenly silent in grief because they realized how far Star Wars had died. It's another franchise. As far as I'm concerned, reboot, no. I don't even trust it. And the reboot is, I mean, if you're going to sit here and say, well, we're going to do a reboot, you're going to have to really push. You're going to have to really come up with something damn spectacular for me to accept the reboot. Personally, I think you should just did a continuation on down the line and been done with it. But that's probably not what we're going to get. Anyway, folks, tell me what you think about this in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. I put these videos out as often as I can. And as always, stay safe, stay frosty. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye now.